And that was without the likes of Facebook or LinkedIn or any social media platform, because there wasn't one at the time. No. Google was in its infancy.
Yes, there was. It was MySpace. I don't think we had a MySpace. MySpace.
Whose space?
No, did you ever do you always just say, come on, MySpace? Hey everybody, it's John Hamilton here, alongside my good friend and business partner, Mr. Jason Brockman. We're here for another episode of the Big Idea Podcast, where, as always, it is our job to help you get more customers and make more money without working harder. So, without further ado, let's dive straight into this month's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to the February edition of the Big Idea Podcast. John here alongside Jason, as always. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm very well, thank you, John.
Good. And we've been shopping this last month, haven't we?
We've done a little bit of shopping.
We have. We've been doing some mystery shopping, mainly for our clients. Mm-hmm. We do like to test them every now and then, don't we?
We do.
It's very interesting to see, because obviously we do a lot of teaching throughout the year, both on the podcast and in Ambitious Lifestyle Business, and also obviously the 1% Club, about the correct way. No, not the correct way. There isn't a right and wrong way, is it? But the optimal way that you could.
The best way that we believe things should be happening.
Yeah, exactly. So things like going through your quotation process,
mm-hmm.
How quickly you might follow up on a lead,
mm-hmm.
The process of sending emails. At what point do you hand over to your team? What happens then? Mm-hmm. What about the after sales process? What happens to the whole customer journey? So,
for regular listeners, I think we might have brought it up about 6 months ago. The same kind of thing, wasn't it? Really, we did a little bit of mystery shopping in the summer on 2 or 3 of our private clients at that time. So this is kind of revisiting that to see how things have moved on in those 6 months.
Yeah, have they?
Not really. I don't think.
No. It's very interesting because we need to do more of it in our business as well, because I know everyone knows what should happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all got these systems, and we've all got the processes in place, and we put it in and say, right, when a customer joins, you send them this email, and then you do this, and then you send them this bit of direct mail here, and then they get a phone call, and they get onboarded, and it does this, and it all works brilliantly in theory.
We talked about the founder in an episode, didn't we? And we looked at the systems and processes in place for McDonald's. Well, related to that somewhat, I used to do mystery shopping for Burger King, which is obviously they've got themselves the systems and processes that Ray Kroc put into McDonald's to make sure that every piece of food that went out within a good amount of time, there was no waiting, that you've got all the service. So they mystery shop every month, every store in the country, to make sure that their systems and their processes are being met, and their standards and their quality is achieved each and every time. So I used to do that. So that's quite interesting. You need to make sure that there's
So your job was to make sure that the burger looked exactly like it does in the picture, yeah?
No, not quite. But it was very similar. I mean, we had a kind of 3 or 4 page questionnaire thing we had to fill out at the end of it.
Yeah.
We had to paid pence, to be fair, to do it, but you did get to keep the chicken Whopper meal, I think it was, we used to have. It had to be the same meal every time, and everybody across the country had that same thing. To make sure
they could see the consistency.
Exactly, that's it. Yeah, and you had to kind of judge when you when you got into the queue, when you got to the counter, when you were served, how long you had to wait for your food after it was served, how it was presented, where it came, how the things were wrapped, and what the markings were, and stuff like that.
You knew it was the chicken Whopper meal.
Mm-hmm.
Did all the staff know that they were going to be mystery shopped
Presumably.
On the chicken Whopper meal?
It happened every time. There was I did it for 2 years, I think, and every month it was the same meal.
Oh, it's always every month it's the same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Always month, everything. So I'm guessing that's one of their popular lines, I'm guessing, and so therefore, they don't know who's mystery shopping, because there's lots of those Whopper meals going out.
I just remember when I was a civil servant, we used to be mystery shopped. Again, it was on a monthly basis, but we were bloody prepped and told, right, here's what they're going to be mystery shopping you on. You're going to be asked questions relating to this. So as soon as the person phones up and starts asking questions, got a mystery shopper here. Yes, no, I know the answer to that. Hang on, it's yes. Yes, the correct answer to your question is, and it's like, well, that completely goes against the objective of a mystery shop. The mystery shop should be the same standard that every customer gets.
And you think Ofsted, they do mystery shopping on schools and things, although they do give them a warning that they're coming.
Is it?
It's not really a mystery. They come when they're ready, but they give you a warning.
I've not seen him before at the back. He looks about 50.
Give you 2 days notice and all the rest of it. But
Coming in here with this
it's
clipboard.
a form of mystery shopping where they do actually go in there, they check the standards, the levels, and all of that kind of stuff. And that's the principles that's involved. It's about checking to make sure that what you think is happening in your business is actually happening in your business.
Actually, you say principles because principles is or was the book of the month last month.
Was it?
It was, and that was a very key point from there. It's about the actual truth about the business, not what should happen in the business, but what actually is happening. And so many business owners can tell you what should happen when a customer gets a quote, when a customer accepts a quote, when a customer goes silent and doesn't get back to you, when a customer buys, when a customer is unhappy. They'll tell you what should happen, but that often isn't the actual truth. And of course, the other element there is, all right, what if you do a mystery shop and it comes back that something's gone wrong? You have to then actually act on that. I mean, there's a certain organisation that we frequent on a kind of fortnightly basis who constantly ask for feedback, don't they? Every time we're there, they ask us for feedback. How was it today? Was it a bit slower than normal? Was the food cold again? And every time they get feedback, and then 2 weeks later, it's pretty crap again. And again, they ask for feedback, and we give them the same feedback and say, look,
It's okay, I'll let them know.
yeah.
That's me action taken. I've let them know.
But they're not actually acting on that advice,
So much so that actually we've stopped giving that advice now because it becomes a bit of a comedy
'cause
aspect.
what's the
And it's
point?
actually, what is the point? So therefore, if your customers are becoming apathetic about your business, which is kind of where we are now with that particular organisation, it's like, oh, this is how it's always going to be. We've just got to kind of resign ourselves. We go there for other reasons other than that particular service point. If it was what your business was, is that service, and actually your customers becoming apathetic, they won't be coming to you for very long.
Yeah.
If we were to choose to go there for that particular service, we wouldn't be going there, would we? We'd be looking for somewhere else. So it's actually, if you're going to ask for feedback in order to promote your customer and get them the best experiences you can, you do have to act on it.
You do.
Because your apathy goes to your customer's apathy, and they don't have to spend their pennies with you. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Good.
Spot on. So, last month's book of the month. Do you know what? I love doing this bit with you, mate, because it's always such great fun to find out what key takeaways you've had from the book of the month. So last month's book of the month was what was it again?
It was about having principles, if I remember.
It was
rightly.
called Principles.
Yeah, that was
by,
it.
What was the author called again?
That chap, wasn't it?
Yeah, what was he called?
No idea. To be honest, I look at the 12 books over the month and find the one that is going to be the most learning for me, and that becomes my book of the year, which is really good.
Ray Dalio was the guy who wrote Principles.
Ah, yeah, that's him.
It was a tough read, I'll be honest with you. Obviously,
To be honest, you didn't sell it very well because you said our book of the month is Principles. It's 16 hours and it's not going to be very interesting to go through. So actually, you didn't sell it all that well.
I don't think I said it wasn't going to be very interesting. I did find it interesting.
Oh, good.
But I found that
You pleasantly surprised me.
Yeah, I don't know. I found it was more for like large corporations or people who are looking to build decent sized teams. Not. It wasn't for me.
Okay.
Some interesting things I did take out of it though. As I touched on just now, it's more about finding the truth within your business. What he calls it's basically rules-based decision making. So what is the actual truth of the situation we're going through now? It's probably not as bad as we think it is. And if we think things are going great, it's probably not as great as we think it is. Even down to whose fault. If something goes wrong, whose fault was it? Oh, it's the buying team's fault. No. Whose fault is it? There's a person who is responsible for this, and it's encouraging them to be able to say that was Jason's fault, without Jason feeling, oh my God, I'm going to be made a scapegoat here. I'm going to lose my job. Because no. Why did Jason fail? Oh, Jason failed because he didn't know how to do this. Why didn't he know how to do this? Well, he didn't have the training in that. Or why didn't he have the training in that? Because it's not in our systems and process manual to give him the training. Ding! There we go.
So whose fault was that then?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So whose fault is it?
Who writes that?
That isn't in there. Well, that's
Yeah.
the person who creates the training. Why didn't that happen? And it's just following that chain back to, okay, why did this actually happen? Another idea that came out of it is he talks about an idea-based meritocracy. And he keeps referring to this idea-based meritocracy. It's basically who actually knows about this stuff. Mm-hmm. So, let's imagine we've got, we filmed this around a table. There's 8 seats around this table. There's obviously the 2 of us here now. But imagine there's 8 seats around this table. And we want to talk about how we're going to use Facebook Messenger ads to grow our business. Mm-hmm. Do we take everyone's advice equally from around the table, or do we speak to the one guy who's been doing Facebook marketing ads, Facebook Messenger ads for the last 18 months and is absolutely crushing it? And it's that idea of, okay, that's the meritocracy. He actually is the expert in this. He knows what he's talking about. It's not one person, one vote. Mm-hmm. It's not, let's all sit down and have a committee meeting. And it's very interesting. You talk about elections, for example. That's not an idea-based meritocracy. That's not, well, let's put running the country, one of the most important tasks we've got, in the hands of people who actually know what they're doing. It's not, well, actually, who decides who the Chancellor of the Exchequer is? Is it people who actually know the economy? Mm-hmm. No, they've got one vote. Same as the guy who's sweeping the roads and knows nothing about it. They've got the same power. Sure. Whereas actually there's an argument that, well, why not put together a meritocracy and say, actually, if you are, an Oxford-trained professor of economics, then perhaps you should have... That's
not a great role for the Chancellor either, is it really?
Perhaps you should have a little bit more weight than someone else. So you've worked in the NHS. Mm-hmm. So should you, when it comes to election time, have more say with your vote on who the Health Secretary should be than, or on policies relating to the NHS, than someone who worked in the Department of Defence? And actually, they should have more of a say on the defence budgets because they know what they're talking about. Whereas the rest of us have a general idea, which is fed by the media, but that's a story for another day,
That is another day.
But yeah, I just found that really interesting. It's about getting to the actual truth via people who know what they're talking about and having the humility to say, well, it doesn't matter if I'm wrong. I think they've come up with this line there, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Mm-hmm. And obviously he's a hedge fund manager, so he wants to be rich. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care about being right because, we've all seen The Apprentice, haven't we? Yep. So we're going to listen to the focus group today, and we're here to find out whose idea is the best. And I've listened to your idea, and I've listened to your idea, and of course everyone obviously liked your idea. We're going to go with mine because I'm the group leader. And you see it every single year. Mm-hmm. And that is not an idea-based meritocracy. That is a dictatorship. And I don't mind running a dictatorship as long as I get to be the dictator.
Fair enough.
The other thing he talks about in the book was first-order decisions versus second-order decisions. And this is basically short-term gratification versus long-term gratification. So... put it in the example of dieting, as we just come out of January, haven't we? Going to the gym and eating salad, that is a second order decision because actually it's good for you, whereas first order decision is, oh, look at that cupcake, that looks rather nice, I might just have a little bite of that now. That is a first order decision, which is a very easy decision to make. It's very easy to pick up that cupcake. It's not as easy to say I'm going to live on chicken and steamed broccoli for the next month. So the first order decision gives you that short-term gratification, but actually in the long term causes you more pain. Whereas the second order decisions, what you really, really should be doing, but it is harder, you've got that short-term pain, but you get the long-term gratification. Goes back to, I think we've talked about it on the podcast before, the Ben Hunt Davis, Will It Make the Boat Go Faster? The Olympic rowing team from the 2000s, they switched their thinking from first order decisions. Do I want to get up at 5 a.m? Do I want to go training today? Oh, it's still 2 years away from the Olympics. I think I can have a kebab tonight. To second order decisions. Will this win us a gold medal at the Sydney Olympics? Shit, no. And it's just by shifting that thinking, all right, they had that short-term pain of, oh my God, why am I doing this? Why am I getting up at 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning when it's freezing cold outside and I'm training when I'm still 2 years away from competing? It doesn't really matter, does it? Well, yes, marginal gains. It does matter. But they've got that long-term gratification of here we are now, 18 years later, still talking about them as gold medal winners at the Sydney Olympics, as opposed to what they did at the 1996 Olympics, whereby they finished 7th, or what they did at the 98 Commonwealth Games, where they finished 7th, or I think the previous Commonwealth Games, where they finished 7th, and they were consistently 7th. They were just missing out on the finals, and they went from that to gold medal just by switching their thinking from first order immediate gratification to second order decisions. All right, long term gratification, short term pain.
Cool. So you did actually get quite a bit out of that book then, really.
Well, it was 16 hours, mate. So.
You had to find something in there, didn't you? Yeah. You know, glad we didn't talk through 16 hours of it now. That's the thing.
I know. So anyway, it was 16 hours. So I made a promise. No, I made a suggestion to people that I probably wouldn't have such a long book for February's book of the month. Sorry, everybody. It's another 16 hours.
Is it?
It is. But it is a fantastic, fantastic book. I am loving this book. So I'm not quite finished it yet. I've got about an hour to go. I will probably read it again this month. I will probably go straight back and read it again. Now, I'm a little bit of a caveat. Obviously, not everyone I know listens to Audible, but this book on Audible is not read by the author, which does make a difference because this is an autobiography. It's this guy's life story, and what a story it is. But it's not read by the author. It's read by a professional narrator.
Right.
My book, by the way, Big Ideas for Small Businesses, will be read by the author, John Lammerton.
I still haven't done my audition, so you don't know that for sure yet.
No, I've got the gig. They told me that. I've got the gig.
Yeah, they can always change it to a better person. They'll always do a second order decision.
Yes, they'll put up with the short-term pain of it. You know?
Listening through your voice, that's it.
Big Ideas for Small Businesses will be read by the author, and having listened to this book, I can see what a difference it makes.
Come on in, John. Tell us what the book is, who it's by, what it's about.
The book is called The Answer Is Yes.
Okay.
Now, what was the question? Subtitle, How I Turned 37 Pence into £100 Million.
Okay.
And it is by Neville Wright, who is the founder of Kiddie Care.
Okay.
Who used to, or they still do, they sell prams and cots and kid stuff. And it's basically his life story from starting out as a pig farmer, basically. And he started cleaning windows. That's where his first 37 pence went, was on a bit of cloth to clean a window.
I'm going to stop you there because you can't tell the whole story because you've still got an hour to go. And I don't want to
16 hours worth.
So stop.
Cool. So I honestly,
let's not go.
Last year, everyone raved about Shoe Dog. Phil Knight's book, his story about Nike. Remember, Nike is how you pronounce it.
Yep. Like a bikey.
That's it, just like a bikey.
When you go for a hikey.
Don't start that again. Everyone was raving about that. To me, this is a better book than Shoe Dog. Don't get me wrong, it's a little bit random at places. It's a little bit, in terms of the timescale, it's a little bit all over the place. Neville, by his own admission, is dyslexic. Yet he's written a fantastic book. Should have read it yourself, but I'll let you off. It's basically the story of how a normal bloke, and you really, really get a story in there, what a normal bloke he is, made it very, very big. And so obviously the subtitle of How I Turned It into £100 Million kind of gives away.
Stop giving it away.
He's made it. He does it on the front cover of the book, but he does it by doing simple stuff.
Excellent.
Consistently. And it's just, there's so many lessons in there. There's so much inspirational stuff and a lot of just laugh out loud stuff in there. I mean,
I'll read it, John. Okay,
there's some quotes in there.
Stop now.
I would just okay.
Before you tell me everything, I don't need to read it.
Okay, I'll let you off then.
So the answer is yes.
The answer is
Neville Wright.
Now, what is the question?
Something about turning 37p into 100 million.
That was it.
See, I'm good, aren't I?
It is a fantastic read. I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah.
Well, you've been talking a little bit about hedge funds and stuff, and that's a huge amount of risk, isn't it, sort of thing? But there is a huge amount of reward, and I think that's the title of our next section.
It is, yeah. We're looking at risk versus reward. Now, obviously, I've done a few investments. I've done a few property deals, so I'm kind of used to juggling that risk versus reward factor. But this came to mind because a conversation I had last week with a guy about a potential property deal. Basically, he would have needed to spend about £6,000, and he would have made about an extra £30,000 profit. Or no, £30,000 out of this property deal. So basically, spend 6, make 30. So I saw the potential 24k profit there, whereas the guy I was speaking to could not see past £6,000. You want me to spend £6,000? I could lose £6,000. If this doesn't work, I'm going to lose £6,000. Whereas I looked at it and said, okay, probability of it not working is very, very small. Probability of breaking even is probably 95%.
Yep.
Probability of 5xing my money is probably 50-60%. That's a risk versus reward ratio that I'm happy with, and it is that case of looking at, okay, what's the reward versus what's the risk, and it's the two are inversely correlated. So you could put your money in a high street current account, which is safe. The risk there is very low. You're covered by the FSCS up to £85,000, but the rewards for that are 0.25%, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
For me, that's not a risk versus reward ratio that I'm happy with, particularly when true inflation is about 5%. I don't care what the official figures are. To me, true inflation is about 5% at the moment. So to me, that's not a risk versus reward ratio I'm happy with. Whereas that sort of deal, do I spend £6,000 to make 30? Depends what the odds of making 30 are. It's not just how much money can I make. It's, can it go to zero? If it can go to zero, what are the chances of it going to zero? What needs to happen for it to go to zero? Therefore, I need to do my due diligence. I need to find out what the truth is in that investment. And if it can go to zero, could it also go to the moon? So a very good example of this at the moment, which I'm starting to dabble with, cryptocurrencies.
Yes.
Can it go to zero? Oh, hell yes.
Can it go to minus zero? Minus zero?
No, it can't go to minus zero.
Can it go minus figures?
No. Well, you could do. Depends if you're borrowing or leveraging to invest in it, or if you're like getting hacked. But to me, that can go to zero. So I'm putting in a little bit of risk capital. That is capital that I know I can afford to lose. If it goes to zero, then it goes to zero, and I fully accept that. I'm not. If I'm putting £5,000 in, that's not my last £5,000. That's not all I've got left in the world. If it was, I would not be putting in cryptocurrencies. Yes, it could. It's got the potential to put £5,000 turn into £50,000. Quite possible. I know a guy who's turned $25,000 into $1 million. Very aggressively trading cryptos, not for the average person. His advice is to just do that. Chuck risk capital into a kind of a tracker fund for all the cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin. People think cryptos is just Bitcoin. It's not. There's thousands of them out there.
There's an awful lot of them, isn't there? Which is where your due diligence comes into it then.
Yeah.
It's who's set them up, who's organising them, who's doing them. It's a bit of a minefield, isn't it,
cap
really?
on them, exactly. It's kind of, get to know it a little bit, put some risk capital in. It could go to the moon, it could go to zero.
But again, I guess it's one of those things about, actually, I want to do some crypto stuff. Who's got a seat around my table that knows about that? And if there isn't anybody, who can I kind of get who does know their stuff?
Whereas what most people do, they ask the taxi driver on the street who's listened to a radio show about cryptos and thinks that he knows it all. Again, everyone's got an opinion on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now common language around most pubs and coffee shops. But how many people actually own Bitcoin? Less than 1% of the population. Everyone knows what it is. Everyone's got an opinion on it.
Everyone's got an opinion.
No one's an expert. Well, very few people are experts, but it's having that risk versus reward ratio. To me, at the moment, the possible rewards outstrip the risk. There's very high risk, very, very, very high rewards. I then liken that to some of the silver bullion investments that I do. Is that going to go to zero? No, it's never going to go to zero. I guarantee it will never go to zero, because obviously silver does have will always have a value, but I'm actually buying silver bullion, which is actually a coin. So on the front of the coin it says it's worth £2. So the lowest it can go is £2. So I know it's not going to go to zero. That is my risk. My greatest risk is it can go from where I'm buying it now at about £15 an ounce down to £2. That is my risk. Chance of that happening, very, very low, because finite amounts of silver cost more to extract it from the ground than it does to actually buy it. It's actually, I think, price being kept artificially low. It's a super hedge against inflation. It's a long-term store of wealth. There's so much going for it that I say, well, actually, the reward rather, going forward, is pretty good. I'm pretty bullish about it. I'm not saying it's going to be, like the cryptos. I'm not going to 10x my money on that. If I was going to 10x my money on it, there's a chance it could go to zero, and very good chance of that. But I would be fairly confident I could double my money on that given 10 years. So some money's going in there because the risk versus reward ratio.
So you're becoming a consumer of investments, and that's all well and good. I mean, it's not in lots of people's stretch, and certainly as a small business owner, you may not be into that and things really. But how can we kind of turn that into a business lesson? I guess, as I say, you're becoming a consumer of that investment product, whatever that investment product might be. But your customers, as a small business owner, they're investing in your company, whether that's your products that you're selling or your services that you're giving, and so therefore there's a risk involved for them when they're making that decision to buy into your product or your service.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's what you can do to reduce that risk to the customer. Don't want to give too much away, but in Neville's book, he's got a brilliant way of doing that. So he had a shop in Peterborough which sold kiddies stuff. So he wanted to get parents of young children to his shop. This is pre-internet mail order days. So he looked and said, right, what's the risks? What's people's objections? Well, I live an hour away. So I've got to drive all the way there and all the way back, and it may not even be the right stuff. So he came up with the free petrol offer, whereby all you had to do was walk into the shop with your driving licence, and he'd look at your driving licence, look at where the postcode is. Actually, it was an older day, so he's probably looking at paper licence. Find out where your postcode is. They work out distance from the shop. They work calculated pence per mile, and they said, there you go, there's your cheque for your petrol. You did not need to buy anything. Oh, okay. You could literally go into the store. They gave you free tea and coffee as well. So you could drive to Peterborough. We could do it from Plymouth. We could drive Plymouth to Peterborough.
Right.
Have a free cup of coffee, maybe even a cake, because we've come quite a long way. Give them my driving licence and get paid for the petrol. Completely took the risk out of it. Yes, they had some chances who lived an hour away but worked in Peterborough. They tried coming in every day for their free petrol. But he said he absolutely made it a no-brainer, completely risk-free. He said, people would go in there and be embarrassed, and they'd be like, hi, can I? And I said, have you had your petrol money yet? No. And they'd literally walk up to people and say, have you had your petrol money yet? No. And it just created this complete no-risk atmosphere in the shop. It got the shop busy, it got the shop full of people. Now, what else happens if you have I hate this word, reciprocity.
Reciprocity. I always try to say
reciprocal effect, whereby if I hand you a cheque,
if you do something nice for me, then I'll do something nice for you.
You've given me some money now, with no obligation to buy anything. The second thing is, we're here now, aren't we? We've driven an hour. We've got to drive an hour back. I'm not driving back with an empty car. We're just about by the pram, aren't we? Got a cheque here for £25. Oh, let's have the better model, shall we?
Yeah.
And it just completely took that risk out, and he just identified what is the risk to the customer. The risk is I waste £20 on fuel driving there.
We see it every day with kind of there's leading vacuum cleaner type companies that have a kind of 7 years completely guaranteed, or there's a car company that again does a 7 year kind of, anything goes wrong on it, just bring it back and we'll sort it out. So there's different ways of doing that, isn't it? And some people believe in their product and actually be able to do something like that, which again takes the risk out of it from the consumer's point of view, but also it becomes a selector or something different than you can buy from a different manufacturer because they don't have that. So actually you've differentiated yourself against your competition, again, and that can be a leading driver for the consumer.
It's and we've done it with free racing tips before with our gold package. It's our top level package. Basically, if you follow this system for at least 3 months, you kind of, I'm not saying guaranteed to make a profit, but we did put a guarantee in place that basically if you follow it for 3 months and you don't make a profit, we'll give you your money back. It just removes that risk of what if it doesn't work. What if something goes wrong? Okay, these are the things that your customers are already thinking. They're already thinking, yeah, that's great. You're telling me this works. You're telling me it's brilliant. But what if it isn't? What if you're lying to me? What if you're just a marketer? And you're just lying to me?
Which I think kind of takes us on to the next one, because it's not only just what you can do for your products and your services, but what your customers can do too. And I think that's kind of, you can build up a community of your customers and things that are actually singing your praises and doing things for you. And that therefore takes away the risk from the customers, because they can see, or potential consumers, because they can see actually there's a whole wealth of people here who are singing your praises, saying that you do a good job, or you've got a good product, or you've got a good service, and actually that does it all for you. So that again takes away some of the risk, doesn't it? So I think our next section is talking about a bit about community building, isn't it?
Yeah, I was having a conversation this morning literally about community building. I said that it's what we've done. It's what we've always done from the very first business, Net Free Stuff. That was a community-based business. All right, it was a directory of stuff you could get free samples on the internet, but we built a community around that.
And that was without the likes of Facebook or LinkedIn or any social media platform, because there wasn't one at the time. No. Google was in its infancy.
Yes, it was. It was MySpace. I don't think we had a MySpace. MySpace.
Whose space?
No, did you ever they always just say, come on, MySpace.
No. But these are the days without the easy to use community tooling things that are out there at the moment, which you can easily build up a community.
Yeah. No, we did. We built. It's a huge community, and we've done it again. We've done it. Free Racing Tips. Now we built it up. We had a Facebook page, 127,000 people on there. We've got a Facebook group now, 15,000 people, all chatting and all talking to each other because they've got a common goal, common needs. They've got something in common with each other, and what we have is that relationship with them. I mean, I've banded some big numbers right there. Yes, we had 200,000 on the mailing list, 127,000 on the Facebook group. It's not about the numbers. It's not about how many people you've got in your community.
Well, if you're watching us live right now as we're recording this, you'll be seeing us in our Facebook group. So we've got a community of business owners, small business owners, around about 800 of those in our Facebook group. So you can find us on bigidea.co.uk/Facebook. But you'll find us there and another 800 like-minded individuals who are there to find and share and have a common purpose, and that is to do better in their business and achieve a better lifestyle for themselves.
Well, it is that. They've all got a common goal. We've created a fun, safe place that people want to be a part of. We don't drag people into our community or force anyone to stay there. They're all there because they want to be there. They feel at home. There's a sense of belonging. And we're encouraging our 1% club members now to do this too. So we've got people, particularly those who are teaching property investment or horse training, drone photography skills, social media coaching. It's we're encouraging all of these people to think about building a community, and I think we're going to be putting together a masterclass on this very soon, because I say it's what we've done for the last. Well,
I think for all of the other things, you make it. if they've got a feeling of ownership, a little bit of belonging within that thing, and they need to feel as if they're an integral part of it, they become your ambassadors, and they're the ones that are screaming about your business, and they're talking about you outside of the platform and outside of the group, and that's getting you more and more business. So it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? With us, an original, the net free stuff, it was a case of them telling their friends about, actually, you can go and grab yourself some free whatever it may have been over at net free stuff. Go there, and actually that group was building, and actually they were doing the selling for us. Really, it makes it a lot easier.
Well, I think I came across the idea for net free stuff via a community. I was on. Do you remember these news groups? Remember news groups?
Yeah, that sounds so much familiar.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how to get on a news group. I don't know if they even exist still. But yeah, it was basically a free
Google
stuff.
Have a news
group.
I think Google still has something like that. Yeah.
Which it was the Facebook news feed of its day, wasn't it?
Well, to be fair, you had that, and there was forums and things like that. Which you've got those things as well, I guess. Which were their own community groups then before the likes that they moved into different platforms and things. Yeah. That's what it was. You went to this forum, and that's where you kind of stayed.
Several people within AOB we know because of communities that we've been part of. Now, I can think of people who we've come from 3 or 4 different communities. They're now all in our community, but they've come from an affiliate community, or they've come from an entrepreneurs community, or they've come from a local community, and it's like, actually, there are all these communities all over the place, and you can just create your own little wall, your own little world with people who think like you do. And it's a really great way to have a list of people who are interested in what you do and who love what you do, and I think it's the best place, or the best way for most businesses to thrive, particularly online, particularly with social media. I think if you create a community and you actually really care about that community, that makes all the difference. It makes things so much easier. Cool. So our last topic of the day, we're going to talk about squeeze pages. But I want to talk about squeeze pages and kind of funnels and all that, but not as most people talk about them for like info marketing businesses, and we're going to have remarketing steps here, and let's get our whiteboard out and do all this. No, I want to talk about like squeeze pages and funnels for normal businesses.
Well, one of the things, when I saw Deborah Median, she did an intimate talk.
What's that? Oh, sorry, a bit of name dropping there.
No, that was a pen drop. That was a pen drop. Yes, and one of the things that she said, and it kind of struck with me. She said businesses are very easily become overcomplicated. She said her strength is to make them very simple, and I think that's a very good thing, because certainly when you talk about squeeze pages and click funnels and apps and process and all of that kind of stuff, it can get overcomplicated very, very quickly. Yeah. I think for this little section, we just go very simply. How can you, as a small business owner, get a new list by using a funnel and a squeeze page? Yeah. How you're going to get them from that list into your customer list?
Yeah. So first thing I was supposed to say...
Did I drop a name in, did I?
You did, just a little bit, yeah.
Got my hug with Judy Spires as well. But never mind.
No one's going to know who Judy Spires is, unless they're from Devon. They're not
Pebble One, they were on Pebble One in the 80s.
Okay, old
National
people.
TV.
Old people and people from Devon. It's our target market.
Yep.
So what is a squeeze page, first of all? Let's go really, really basic. Why is it called a squeeze page? It's called a squeeze page because it's designed to squeeze you down that funnel. Give me your email address, give me your details, sign up for my list, or bugger off. Those are your options really with a squeeze page. So it's a one-page wonder where your only options are to either close the window down and go away, or to take an action, download an ebook, or pop in your email address in the form, and we'll give you some kind of lead bait. So how can a real business do it? So the guy who asked this question was a photographer. So I thought, well, let's take his business first of all.
That's it.
So what could you have on your squeeze page? What could you have as an offer? Well, I was thinking, why not find out when our next family shoot day is? Download our wedding brochure. Download our portfolio. And it's just putting things into that funnel of, you could have an ebook. I'm never a big fan of the ebook.
Nope.
But I know they work, and I've seen them working. So you can have, here's some examples of my work. What are the pitfalls of hiring a poor photographer. I mean, these are sort of things you could put into your funnel, actually. So once they've given you your email address, give them a reason to get the
You could
email
have an
address.
offer, to be fair. It could be something as simple, and I'm going to strip it back down to being simple. It's somebody who's interested in a family shoot, and here's an offer that they can have. They get their free standard photograph that everybody kind of gets, but this is the voucher for it. And they could just be putting their email address in there to get their voucher for a nice, simple, free photograph when you come and have your family shoot with us. This, really stripping it back, really
So
basic,
kind of
without
back to
having
what
to
we
put
said
any
earlier,
work into it
and
at all.
Removing the risk.
Remove the risk. That's it. Come along, we'll give you a photo if you like it. You do. If you want to buy some more, then you do. That's a typical
Again, that's a good
photographer
thing
type.
when putting together
offer, isn't it?
offers and putting together lead bait and everything like that. That's a good place to start. Is what are the risks that my customers are thinking? Well, I would do that, but I've got to invest some time in getting there. Oh my God, they're going to sell me. They're going to hard sell me on £1,000 worth of photos here. Oh my God, it's going to end up costing a fortune.
If your margin support it, you could have that free photo, but you could also do a cream tea or something completely different. Look at what everybody else is doing and do something above it. Again, differentiate yourself from everybody else. What else can you offer them? Along with the family portrait, we'll do you a head and shoulder shot for each of the parents and a group one of the children, or whatever you want to do, you can kind of do, but include that within the package. Again, if you're running higher margins, i.e. you're not doing it based on value or cost or price or anything like that, you can do it. You can afford then to put the little extra nice things in there, which then will make a difference to them coming to you as opposed to going to one of your competitors. But say strip it down, make it nice and simple. My mantra, I think, for this year might be make it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid. Right.
I wasn't going to say that. I don't think you're stupid. You just play it all the time. It's just annoying, really. Sorry.
So thinking about it, so once you've got them on your list, then most problems that people have then is how do I send them?
Yep.
So that's then when you go into your follow-up sequence, and that's where I'd say you send them your portfolio, send them examples of work. So if they've signed up for a kids photo shoot, send them examples of your kids photo shoot. If they signed up for a wedding one, send them examples of wedding photos. Pets, send them pets. Yeah, what are the pitfalls? Why don't you want to hire a cheap photographer? Testimonials. We must have a shed load of testimonials that you can send out to people. Send them an offer. Free canvas print, free frame print when you do this, free cup of coffee when you come in for a session.
Send them your diary page that they can book themselves in on. Nice and simple.
And I think the most important one, which goes back to mystery shopping again, follow up.
Oh yeah,
Don't forget to follow up with people.
If you give them a quote or you give them an offer, follow up, make sure they take it.
So I'm going to have a little bit of a caveat about squeeze pages. Sometimes you don't want to have a squeeze page. So if you are a plumber that is looking to win more corporate business from letting agents, then you may want to have a squeeze page which says why landlords want to hire good quality plumbers, and how you can add value to properties and everything. You can put together a nice little ebook, or you can put together some kind of guide and send them off down a funnel. But if you're that same plumber and you're buying traffic on Google AdWords for the keyword emergency plumber, people don't want to download an ebook about how to add value to their property by hiring a decent plumber. They want your phone number to stop the water that is now at waist height.
Yep.
And it's just creating that, knowing where that customer is on the buying journey. We made that mistake once. So in the sports betting business, every year, and we're doing it right now, we put together a magazine for the Cheltenham Festival, which happens in March. And this works gangbusters for us. It's really, really good. As lead bait, we put it on a squeeze page, we find people who are interested in horse racing, we send them to this squeeze page and we say, hey, give us your email address and we will give you a free 32-page magazine, really glossy, really well written, loads of tips in there, all about the Cheltenham Festival. And this worked brilliantly. And the first year we did it, it was like, this is amazing. Working absolutely brilliant. We were buying leads, or we were getting leads off Facebook for 11 pence a lead. And we were just so chuffed that it was working absolutely brilliantly until it didn't. And it changed literally overnight. So the conversions were amazing. Cheltenham Festival starts on the Tuesday. On the Monday before Cheltenham, conversion rate dropped a little bit. Tuesday morning, it dropped a bit more. And then Tuesday lunchtime, it went off a cliff. And we couldn't figure out what the hell's gone on. These are the same people, same target audience, same squeeze page, same keywords being paid for on Google AdWords. They're all coming in exactly the same places. We're targeting them exactly the same. And the conversion has plummeted. The only thing that changed was that the 1:30 was about to start. You were like an hour away from the 1:30. So people didn't want to devour a 32-page magazine.
Yeah.
They wanted to know who's going to win the 1:30. So day 2 of Cheltenham, we completely changed it. We removed the magazine. We chucked that in the bin.
Mm-hmm.
That is now completely worthless. And we said, hey, here's the results you missed out on from day 1. If you give us your email address now, we will give you instant access to all the tips for day 2. We've got tips for the 1:30, for the 2:15, for the 3 o'clock. And we listed out everything you're going to get, and you're going to get it instantly.
Mm-hmm.
That was what people wanted at that time. But their buying intent changed dramatically overnight to a much more pressing demand. It's the, might see if I can hire a plumber versus, I need a plumber now. And, you know, in one of them, a squeeze page is a nice, soft way to get people into your world, introduce them, send them off down a funnel, you know, get them all sold, versus, I want your phone number now. Please. My feet are getting rather soggy. Cool.
Excellent.
And on that note, I think we're going to sign off.
We are.
It's been another excellent month in the Big Idea world. We'll see you with a much shorter book of the month in March. I promise.
Much shorter. The promise is written here, so that is it. Public accountability.
Yes, maybe
shorter book.
14 or 15 hours.
40 minutes long, that's right, yes. We can have a nice pamphlet next time.
Yes. As always, guys, show notes are on the website, bigidea.co.uk/podcast. Come join us in the Facebook group, bigidea.co.uk/Facebook. See you later.
Good to see you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there we are, another episode in the can. How was it for you? Please let us know. However you listen to these podcasts, please leave a review on that platform. Let us know what we can do better, what you like, what you don't like, and how we can improve to make this show even better for you. We'll see you next time.